Hi, welcome to Take 5, where we daily consider devotional thoughts from Oswald Chambers' book, My Utmost for His Highest. Today is May 5th, and the title of today's devotional is Judgment and the Love of God. The time has come for judgment to begin at the house of God, 1 Peter 4 and verse 17. Dr. Chambers informs his readers that the Christian servant must never forget that salvation is God's idea, not man. Therefore, it has an unfathomable depth. This is such a powerful statement. It made me remember that the idea of there being no heaven, no hell, no judgment is man's idea. Chambers says that the matter of salvation is a subject of an unfathomable depth. The salvation is the great thought of God, not an experience. Experience is simply the door through which salvation comes into the conscious level of our life so that we are aware of what has taken place on a much deeper level. This is difficult to follow. We come to recognize salvation by way of an experience, but the actual truth behind the experience is much deeper than at the time we realize it to be. We experience the results of the act of God that He already laid out before the foundation of the world, Ephesians chapter 1. Salvation is the great thought of God behind the experience. It is how He decided for us to be able to come to Him. Chambers advocates that we are to let people know not simply how they can be saved from hell and made moral and pure. We must tell them the good news about God. Once more, Chambers teaches that our focus is not to be on us and what God can do for us, but on the almighty greatness of God Himself. Before Paul ever begins his explanation of salvation through Christ, he tells of the greatness of God and how it is revealed to us. For since the creation of the world, His invisible attributes, His eternal power, and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what He has made, so that we are without excuse. Romans chapter 1. Chambers continues in the teachings of Jesus Christ. The element of judgment is always brought out. It is the sign of the love of God. Once more, he makes a statement that causes us to ponder, but a simple consideration of John 3:16 will aid us. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16. So that whoever believes shall not perish. Why would they perish? Because of sin. But God loved the world and sent His Son, Jesus, to bring salvation. Chambers tells us never sympathize with someone who finds it difficult to get to God. God is not to blame. This is a very good point, and one that C.S. Lewis clarified, in that the person who wrestles against God is normally because there are elements in their life they know are displeasing to God, but they don't want to give them up. We should not sympathize with those wrestling against God, for the battle lies not between them and God, but within themselves. Chambers continues, it is not for us to figure out the reason for the difficulty, but only to present the truth of God so that the Spirit of God will reveal what is wrong. This reminded me that we do not save people, God does. As Chambers says, the Spirit of God brings each person face to face with God Himself. Chambers next offers a truth that is so true it hurts. If Jesus ever commanded us to do something He was unable to equip us to accomplish, He would be a liar. Jesus does not want us to do or be something without His empowering us to do it. Paul shared that it is God who is at work in you both to will and to work for His good pleasure. Philippians 2 and 13. Break that verse down and you will see it say God is at work within the believer doing two things, creating the will, the desire, as well as performing the actual work that pleases Him. It's not we who live righteously, but God living His righteousness through us. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. This is what Chambers means with Jesus never commanding us to do that which He doesn't equip us to do. Otherwise, Jesus would be a liar, and Philippians 2:13 would be a lie. So, if we make our own inability of a stumbling block or an excuse not to be obedient, it means that we are telling God there is something which He has not taken into account. Are there areas of life that God cannot empower us? No. But It requires that every element of our own self-reliance be put to death by the power of God. Failure in obedience to God comes from our own relying on self to be righteous. The moment we recognize our complete weakness and our dependence upon Him will be the very moment that the Spirit of God will exhibit His power. If you haven't yet read today's devotional from Dr. Chambers' book, I encourage you to do so, for it will enhance the time that we spend together. It's available free online. Please share any questions or comments that you may have, and also share prayer requests as well. And now may God's grace and peace be ours as we seek to live our utmost for His highest. Thanks for being here. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.